On the morning of May 2nd, 2025, something went terribly wrong on a quiet road in Nova Scotia, Canada. Gairloch Road isn't the kind of place where people just disappear. It's isolated, but it's familiar. It's surrounded by deep woods, with only a few neighbors scattered far apart. It's the kind of place where everyone notices everything. That morning, 6-year-old Lilly Sullivan and her 4-year-old brother, Jack, were inside their family home, just like any other day. But by the end of that day, they were gone. No one reported hearing any screams. There was no sign of forced entry. No blood, no signs of a struggle. Just two children who had vanished as if they had never been there at all. The police were alerted almost immediately. Search teams flooded the area within hours, a massive response for a community so small. Dogs were deployed, trying to pick up a scent. Drones were launched, their cameras scanning the vast landscape. Helicopters flew low, their blades beating against the air as they peered down at the dense forest canopy. Hundreds of volunteers combed through ditches, fields, and wooded trails, their eyes searching for any clue, any sign. They found nothing. Not a piece of clothing. Not a single footprint. No scent trail that led anywhere conclusive. It was as if the children had simply stepped outside of reality itself. Initially, investigators thought the children might have just wandered off. It's a common theory when young kids go missing, but that theory collapsed almost as soon as it was formed. Think about it. Jack was only 4 years old. Lily was just 6. The terrain surrounding their home is incredibly rough. It's a landscape of dense, unforgiving woodland, with cold temperatures even in May and uneven, treacherous ground. Children that young don't walk very far without leaving some kind of evidence. Yet, there were no tracks leading into the forest, no signs of a fall or an injury, no trace near any of the local streams or ponds. The searchers expanded the radius of their search again and again, pushing further into the wilderness. Still, nothing. As the days turned into a week, the case began to take on a much darker shape. The possibility of them simply being lost was fading, replaced by a much more sinister dread. Police conducted dozens of interviews. They spoke with every family member, every neighbor, anyone who might have driven down that lonely road on the morning of May 2nd. Polygraph tests were reportedly used on key individuals, though the results were never made public. But despite all their efforts, no charges were ever filed. No official suspects were ever named. Authorities stated publicly that the case remained open and active. Privately, sources close to the investigation admitted they were completely and utterly baffled. One of the most disturbing, most chilling elements of this entire case was the silence. An absolute, deafening silence. No credible witnesses came forward. No home security cameras caught a glimpse of the children leaving their yard. No passing driver's dashcam recorded any unusual vehicles in the area at the critical time. In our modern world, a world saturated with cameras, smartphones, and digital tracking, Jack and Lilly Sullivan vanished without a single verified image, without a single digital footprint. As the official investigation stalled, public speculation exploded online. Internet sleuths and true crime communities from around the world began dissecting every known detail. Theories ranged from the plausible to the fantastic. Some believed the children were deliberately taken by someone they knew, a targeted abduction. Others suggested a tragic accident had occurred, one that had somehow been perfectly concealed, leaving no evidence behind. More extreme voices pointed to international human trafficking routes, a terrifying thought, but one that had no supporting evidence to back it up. And then there were the other theories. The theories that police would never, ever touch publicly. Theories about the woods themselves. Local folklore in some rural parts of Nova Scotia is filled with old stories passed down for generations. Stories of people going missing in the deep forests. Stories of children who followed strange sounds into the trees and were never seen again. Stories of paths that appear where they shouldn't be, paths that don't exist on any map. Of course, law enforcement officially dismissed these ideas as nothing more than superstition, distractions from the real work of the investigation. But for a public desperate for answers, these old stories felt eerily relevant. What made the entire situation even more agonizing for the family and the community was the total lack of closure. No ransom demand was ever made. No remains were ever found. There were no confirmed sightings of Jack and Lilly after they disappeared. The initial flurry of activity and hope slowly faded. Weeks turned into months. The names Jack and Lilly Sullivan, once confined to local news, began appearing in international headlines. Their smiling school photos a haunting reminder of what was lost. Eventually, authorities had to make the difficult decision to scale back the active search. The command posts were taken down, the daily press briefings stopped, but the case was never closed. It remains an open file, a cold, heavy weight on the desks of detectives. As of today, Jack and Lilly Sullivan remain missing. No official explanation for their disappearance exists. No single theory has ever been proven. Their case stands as one of the most unsettling and mystifying modern disappearances in Canadian history. It's a case that challenges something we all want to believe is true. That in the year 2025, with all our technology, children cannot simply vanish into thin air. That our world of constant surveillance sees everything. That someone somewhere would have noticed something. But sometimes, even now, the world goes quiet. The cameras miss something. The witnesses aren't there. And two children can disappear. Not with a scream, not with a struggle, but with silence. And that silence is the most frightening mystery of all. Thank you for watching. If you found this story as compelling as I did, please consider subscribing for more of a deep dive into unsolved mysteries. Stay safe out there.